days and counting through the draft. And in that spirit, let's drop a Schrager bomb. Peter Schrager is here with D. Wood and Mike Tannenbaum this morning. Peter, drop something on us. What's the most interesting thing you can tell us 2 days before the draft?
Greeny, I've been sitting on my couch watching NBA, watching you guys, texting every GM and every coach, and I will tell you this, around the league, the Titans, they're not listening to trade offers. However, there have been phone calls made to both the Browns at 2 and the Giants at 3 with the intention to move up from several different sources telling me there are teams who are looking to get up in this draft to either the 2 or the 3 spot. The assumption being to move up to the 2 or the 3 spot, it would be for Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter, or the running back, Ashton Genty, who everyone expects to go somewhere in that 5 to 7 to 8 range. There have been teams making calls, and those teams are not immediately slamming down the phone. The Browns at 2, the Giants at 3. Everyone assumes it's going to be chalk, that this is going to go Cam Ward, it's going to go Travis Hunter, it's going to go Abdul Carter. Not so fast. I think the 2 spot gets very interesting if the Browns are listening to a Godfather deal for them to trade back and someone to trade up into the top 3.
There's so many things about this that I find interesting, and one of them immediately, Mike T., the thing that I immediately go to is the Giants at 3. They're looking to get they most likely would like to get a quarterback, and they keep using the word value. I've heard Joe Shane use the word value a million times. Maybe there isn't value in taking a quarterback at 3. Maybe you vacate 3, you accumulate a bunch of other picks of some sort, and you still get the quarterback that you want a little bit later down the road. That's what it sounds like to me. What does it sound like to you?
Reedy, I agree. And let's be clear about what Peter is saying. When you're talking about transformational trades like the Giants possibly to get a quarterback, those trades are agreed to today and tomorrow. They are executed on the clock. I made some big trades going up from Mark Sanchez, Darrelle Revis. Agreement and principles with the other team are made ahead of time. They're too important. They're too big. You need the head coach, the owner, and the GM on the same page. So if a big trade like Peter is saying actually happens, Greeny, I would expect very quietly that it's agreed to at some point today or tomorrow. And then by the time we get to Thursday night, it's simply executed. If I'm the Giants, I want to get a quarterback of the future. They didn't take one last year when 6 went in the top 12. So if they could slide back and get a quarterback and get some extra picks, that makes a lot of sense.
I mean, it makes sense because maybe 3 is too high and you're worried about waiting until the second round. So you got to find some place in between. If you can do that and add picks, it would sound pretty good to me. What do you think?
Yeah, listen, I think if you're one of these teams that's looking to trade, in the whether it's a 2 or 3 spot, you're doing it because there's only a couple blue chip playmakers in this draft.
Yeah.
Most people would talk about, Carter, Travis Hunter, and then you talk about Ashton Genty. So I think when you look at this draft overall, obviously we've been talking about the quarterback position, but most of these prospects in this draft, particularly in the first round, these guys are high-end starters. We don't consider them blue chip type players. So if you're going to trade up, go trade up for the best. Go trade up for guys who are true difference makers in this draft.
Mike T., the price tag is something I'm interested in. We've become accustomed to seeing these high picks traded because teams are going up to get quarterbacks. There's a quarterback tax that exists in the NFL. If teams are going up ostensibly to get Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter, is the price tag the same?
Yeah, Hebo made a good point this morning when Houston went from 12 to 3 2 years ago, go get Will Anderson. They took Stroud and then Anderson. They still had to give up a future first-round pick. There were other pick swaps, but absolutely, there's still a massive premium in the top 3. And again, if I'm Cleveland or the Giants, everybody knows what we need to do, but those are great players. It's a premium to get up that high.
Put a little ribbon on it for me here.
Well, the feeling is that these teams need talent all over the roster, and there's a very few blue chips. If you're going chalk, it's, hey, just take Hunter, take Carter, and just move on. But when you start talking about multiple first-round picks in the future, and you start talking about multiple day 2 picks in this draft, both these teams have giant holes all over the roster. You have to listen to at least hear if there's a Godfather offer.
This is getting interestinger and interestinger as we work our way towards Green Bay, where we're headed to.
In your career, what do you make of what Brian Daboll had to say right there?
Yeah, Amita, he's clearly trying to dispel the notion that they're not on the same page. I worked with Brian Daboll for a number of years. He's really good. He's very thorough. but it's very unusual so late in the game for such a big decision, Amina, for them to go back out for private workouts. Private workouts are totally part of the plan, but to do it so late in the game when it's such a transformational decision is very unusual.
So what would be the ideal draft plan for the Giants night one?
Well, if they could draft Abdul Carter, presumably Travis Hunter goes to, and they could get the pass rusher from Penn State, that would be ideal. He's a blue chip player, complete difference maker. And then you go back to the bottom of the first round. Ideally, hopefully Sedeur Sanders falls. If he does, trade up for him. Jaxson Dart from Ole Miss, I think, has a chance to be a good starter. Tyler Shugg, despite being 25, is a really good prospect. And then Jalen Milroe, who a lot of people comp to Jalen Hurts, a little bit more of a developmental player. If they could get one of those 4 quarterbacks bootstrap with Abdul Carter, that would be a great night for the Giants.
So many different possibilities with what the Giants could do at that number 3 pick. And I know if you're a Giants fan, you're looking for them to get a quarterback. You want them to get a franchise quarterback. However, obviously you talk about Abdul Carter, one of the best talents being there, also Travis Hunter as well being on the board too. Which way do you go if you are the Giants?
Yeah, take the best player. Get one of those blue chip difference makers. Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter, clearly positionally the 2 best players in the draft. And then again, they need a little luck, but one of those 4 quarterbacks, Amina, should be there towards the bottom of the first round, trade back up, and now you get a great player, and hopefully from a Giants standpoint, you're a quarterback of the future.
Yeah, with the Giants picking at 3, it's their 8th top 10 pick in the last 10 drafts, the most in the NFL in.
This is my former friend, Mike Tannenbaum, back on the program because he saw me get escorted away out of this studio by those stormtroopers, and he didn't come defend me.
I was worried about pulling a hamstring running across the studio.
That's actually pretty valid. I mean, so close to the draft, which is what we're here to talk about, right? 2 days away from it, and this is the closest to the start of the first round where we haven't seen anybody trade for first-round picks. Who needs to trade up the most, Mike T?
Gary, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and here's why. The other day, Aaron Rodgers goes on Pat McAfee, and understandably so, deservedly so, he basically told us he was retired, and here's why. When you have an NFL starting quarterback, you need somebody who's prepared to withstand the rigors of a 17-game regular season, something he did with the Jets 2 years ago, off-season program. The Steelers started their program. He is not there. He's going to be 42 in December. If he was our starting quarterback, he should be all in. Coach Mike Tomlin, what did he say? I want volunteers, not hostages.
Yeah.
We have to move on. We have to go get a quarterback Thursday night.
The volunteers, not hostages line is so poignant, and you've been sort of the forward-facing voice all week since that interview with McAfee. Who could be drafted in the top 10 higher than maybe we all expect?
Tyler Warren, Penn State tight end. Gary, he's remarkable. He had 104 receptions. He lines up all over the field, and you can see here, he's big, but he's also quick. He becomes an instant mismatch. So a team that's looking for a difference maker in the top 10, I would start with Tyler Warren. I think he's going to come in and be productive right away.
Yeah, 104 receptions in 2024, Penn State's single-season record. Is he the most day-one pro-ready prospect in your eyes? Because obviously we know the Travis Hunters and maybe even an Ashton Genty, but how would you order him in that pack?
Yeah, you know, Gary, I would go with Tyler Warren because, again, the offense he played in. Look, I love Ashton Genty as well, but again, we saw Tyler Warren do everything a tight end needs to do. He can block, he can catch, he could run. So to me, he's a plug-and-play player, a true difference maker from day one.
Mike T's back. Current friend, Mike Tannenbaum, breaking things down this morning on SportsCenter.
Hôm nay mình sẽ hướng dẫn các bạn cách làm một chiếc mũ đội đầu đơn giản từ len cho búp bê nhé. Nguyên liệu mình cần có chính là len. Mình sử dụng 3 màu sắc len như thế này để làm nha mọi người. Màu xanh da trời, màu xanh lá non và màu vàng nha, sẽ kết hợp với nhau. Sử dụng kim móc len để làm nhé. Kéo này, mình cắt những cái phần len thừa. Bây giờ sẽ bắt tay vào làm. Đầu tiên mình sẽ sử dụng cái phần len màu vàng này trước nhé. Bây giờ mình sẽ tiến hành móc. Đầu tiên móc một cái hình tròn nha mọi người. Đây mình sẽ tiến hành mình móc. Móc vào đây. Cái từng mũi một mình sẽ sử dụng là những mũi nửa kép nhé. Mọi người có thể là dùng những mũi khác cũng được, tùy ý nhé. Nếu mà muốn cái mũ của mình nó có form hơn thì dùng mũi đơn nó nhỏ ấy thì cái form nó sẽ cứng cáp hơn nhé. Đấy, móc vào đây. Cứ luân phiên từng mũi nha mọi người.